Over the last few weeks, I have thrown some jibes at the thought of The Undertaker coming back as the American Badass, and that's irked some people, and that's cool. We're all human beings, we're all individuals, and we all have unique opinions. Let's focus on that here for a minute though, and for once, let's be a little bit negative, because I hope when The Undertaker does return to face John Cena at WrestleMania 34, he ain't anywhere near that stupid American biker gimmick rubbish nonsense. And if it is that going to be taking on the face of the WWE at the show of shows, I think it's going to ruin the whole damn thing. Why? Here's why. Now, I think a large for or against this depends on the age you are, and it depends on what you actually perceive The Undertaker to be. If you did indeed come to the WWE around the Attitude Era or just past it, and The Undertaker was this biker driving goofball, then yeah, this is the version of The Undertaker you're going to enjoy. And I can completely understand it. He looked cool, he acted cool, and again, it was your first introduction to the dead man. That's all you're going to know. And that's fine, I got no problem with that whatsoever. I imagine there's also some people out there who are still a little bit peeved that John Cena is no longer a rapper, because when they first tuned into WWE TV, John Cena was a rapper, and that's what they enjoyed. Your earliest memories of the Sport of Kings will always be the best, because you can't fight nostalgia, and you can't fight that kid mind which just accepts everything it's thrown at it. But therein lies my point. When I first saw The Undertaker as a child, he was a dead man. Now that is ridiculous, and no one should ever believe that, but you do when you're young. So I was sat there going, oh my gosh, I actually think this guy has been brought back from the dead. Especially when you see his presentation back then. Look at his presentation back then. That is one scary mother doodah. And Mark Calloway deserves all the credit in the world for taking this idea and making it work. So I don't think anybody else could have done. But that is once again why it was so special. And of course, the ultimate part of all of this was that his manager was called Paul Bearer. And I'm not ashamed to admit, it took me a long time before I actually went, oh, Paul Bearer. That was as dumb as it was brilliant. And don't get me wrong either, it's not like WWE has protected that version of the character non-stop. He has done some weird stuff. He was demonic, he did sacrificing, he actually murdered someone at the end of a Hell in a Cell match. But more or less, the presentation and the execution has been so good, to many people, The Undertaker is as synonymous with pro wrestling as WWE itself. That is how big he became. Loads of people know who The Undertaker is. When we go back to the American Badass, that is just some dude in a bandana who rides around the place. And yeah, I know it's more realistic or more real to the person who Mark Calloway is. That doesn't make it more interesting, doesn't make it more fun, doesn't make it more pro wrestling. It doesn't get me as revved up, pun intended, and he doesn't have as good as entrance. If I'm having an Undertaker entrance, I want bongs, and I want lightning bolts and all that jazz. That is why that version of The Undertaker versus John Cena at WrestleMania 34 doesn't interest me at all. And I know it would tie in perfectly to why he left his clothes in the ring at WrestleMania 33, and Kid Rock is going to be there and can sing his theme live. But this is WrestleMania. We're talking about WrestleMania. I want icon versus icon. So if we're doing Cena Taker, that is the phenom, and not some guy that was around for a few years that refused to sell for anybody. It just doesn't have the same allure, and it won't have the same build. And also, I know pro wrestling is fake, but this makes no sense whatsoever. Who's this guy? What happened to the other guy? Where did the change happen, and why did it happen? Never explained. And a small part of me does think we are going to get the American Badass gimmick, and straight away I can feel it in my bones. All of a sudden, the match has less excitement for me, and that's because I do separate the two gimmicks. I almost see them as two separate wrestlers. It really would be like Cena all of a sudden donning some Reebok pumps and freestyling. I'd be like, why have you done this? We don't want that. I don't want that. I want the guy that I associate with the WWE. And while that was a cool gimmick, it's in the past and it's not who you are now. Given that this is going to be the only time these two clash at WrestleMania as well, I don't think we should muck around with the format. This is WrestleMania after all. I want icon versus icon, not some guy that was around for a little bit versus John Cena. Just stick to what makes sense. Please just stick to what makes sense. Don't be torn because you think it'd be a great idea to have the American Badass come back. For example, if it was Sting versus The Undertaker, would you want Sting versus the American Badass? No, you wouldn't. If you're out there now in YouTube land going, actually, Miller, I would like that. You're lying to me. You're lying to you, and if your mum is in earshot, you're lying to her too. Don't be a dirty liar. So this is where I'm laying my hat, people, much like The Undertaker laid his hat down around about a year ago. I don't want it to happen, so I'm going to say I don't want it to happen. I want the original Undertaker, so I'm going to say I want the original Undertaker. Now I'm just taking sentences and pushing them together before pulling them back apart. I feel very passionate about this. It's important to me. I know this is going to wind people up. I've seen the tweets. I've been on social media, but as an old man, The Undertaker's only supposed to be one guy, and it's not the dude driving a motorcycle. Also, when he came back at Judgment Day 2000 as this guy, What a mess that was. Go and watch it now. You think the editing's bad now. You get on Kevin Dunn about the direction now. What was that about? It's just a kerfuffle. I still had no idea what was going on. This wasn't The Undertaker. This wasn't my Undertaker. It was just some dude on a bike. And I tell you this, at WrestleMania 34, I don't want some dude on a bike. I want the dead man. Now don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about the American Badass versus The Undertaker. Like, share and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com, read yourself some articles, and follow What Culture on Twitter at What Culture WWE. My name is Simon from What Culture. This was the Y Series. Do a squat. See you soon.
So that was our video. Thank you for watching. Please do feel free to click on anything happening around my head or something terrible might happen to this dog. Is that you too sweeting me, bro? Ugh. Disgusting. That's really bad.